Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lori and today I'll be telling my labor and delivery story. So my son was born on December 18, 2019. So his birthday will be next month, and that is actually why I am now filming this video. I told myself that I will be waiting until near to his birthday to tell this video because his birth was a bit traumatizing. I get over stuff pretty quickly, so I have been over everything that happened for a while, but I still needed to process everything. So when I went to my appointments, they gave me 3 different due dates for my son. I got December 18th, December 21st, and December 22nd. I always knew that he was going to come on the 18th, but obviously you can't tell medical professionals how to do their job. So while the most recent due date was the 18th, they decided to stick with the furthest one out, which was the 22nd. So for my prenatal care, I was in the public health system, so I was going to clinic every 4 weeks in the beginning and then 2 weeks towards the end. And on my last prenatal appointment, which was on the 17th of December, I asked the nurse to check my cervix. I was feeling a whole lot of pressure. I was heavy as hell. I was always in pain. I had symphytic pubic disorder. That's not the word. I'm gonna put it in the description box along with a definition. But everything was stretching and clicking in and out, and I was very uncomfortable. So the issue here lied in the fact that because I was in the public health system, obviously it's going to be saturated with patients. The clinic that I went to on days when the midwife, because I was seeing a midwife for most of my appointments during my pregnancy, and she was amazing. Loved the dealing with her. She was the kindest lady ever. But she was always booked. So on days when she was too busy and had a whole lot of patients, she was split with the public health nurse. And unfortunately on this day, I had to see the public health nurse. Now, sorry about that fly. The public health nurse was not comfortable with checking my cervix, obviously because she was not a midwife, and she told me that they would do that when I went to the hospital to give birth. And for me, that did not make any sense because I'm asking you to check my cervix because I feel like I am dilating. But she didn't. And I went home. I was mad as hell today. So pissed because she just did everything that she should for a regular appointment, which I understand that. But I was close to my due dates, so I think that a little bit more should have been done in where screening was concerned, but they didn't do anything extra, so whatever. So went about my day, had a very strong feeling that I was going to go into labor the next day, so I was doing a whole lot of nesting, and I actually combed my hair the night before I went into labor. So didn't get much sleep the night, was super uncomfortable, was up doing all manner of evil, watching YouTube, watching Netflix, chatting and so on. And I didn't go to bed until 2 a.m. or maybe 2:30 a.m. the next day, which is the 18th. So I go to sleep probably like as soon as I go to sleep, I was awakened by contractions. So I woke up and I went back to bed because I had been having contractions all week, and I didn't, well, I will say that nothing was happening because I didn't know. That's why I asked the nurse to check my cervix, but she didn't. So I went back to bed. A couple of minutes later I woke up again and I was like, and I pulled up the baby center app. That's the app that I use throughout my pregnancy, and I was counting my contractions. So they were super irregular, and they were like, oh, I don't remember if it's 511 or it's 115 rule, but I guess they said your contractions need to be every 5 minutes, 5 minutes apart, lasting for 1 minute or 1 hour. And my contractions were all over the place. They were lasting 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 6 minutes. They were coming in every like 10 minutes, 6 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. So I didn't know what to do. It's my first baby, so I didn't want to wake everybody up and carry me go to the hospital, and then we have to end up come back home, because this was early in the morning. This was around 4 o'clock, 4:30 a.m. So anyway, I lie down there for a little bit longer, probably like 30 minutes longer, timing contractions, and they start coming closer and more intense. And I was like, ooh, I can't lie down anymore. This is uncomfortable. So wake up everybody, and I'm like, I'm in labor, but don't call anybody to come bring us to the hospital yet, because I'm not sure what is going on. So after a while, I decided that it's time to go to the hospital, because this is getting out of control. So I go to take a shower to leave and go to the hospital, and while I'm in the shower, my water breaks. So I'm like, okay, this is the real deal. Like, I know that after my water breaks, there is no sitting at home and waiting for anything, because and the contractions got way more intense after my water broke as well. So called up a close friend. They came and got us to take to the hospital, and on the way there, because this friend, they drive a taxi, and in Jamaica, private vehicle owners, they don't really respect taxis on the road. So this person, they had on their emergency lights, were flashing, but nobody was getting out of the way. I am in labor, contractions coming fast, sitting on an eco pad in the car because water broke, and they were coming out of the way. So I had to be doing a lot of illegal driving to get me there in time. And I don't remember exactly what happened, because I was fighting contractions, but I do know that we narrowly escaped an accident, because the car that we dodged ended up going into another car. So either we caused the accident or we avoided an accident. But arrived at the hospital. If in case you're wondering, I had my son at Spanish Town Hospital in Jamaica. I would not recommend anybody to go there to do anything at all, not even to stand up at the gate. Go to the lobby. Having contractions, have to walk to get signed in. Now here they have a rule where you have to register at the hospital that you're gonna give birth, and I did do that. I think maybe it was 2 weeks prior to this happening. However, I did it for the 21st, and I was here on the 18th. So the receptionist wanted to have an attitude with me. Why didn't you register? Blah blah blah. So she write up a docket quick, spell my name wrong on it. I don't know why, because I did give her my ID, and I did tell her that I did register for the 21st. So why not look for that file? But anyway, wrote my name wrong on the docket and thing. Had to walk to the labor room because there were no porters to push me in the wheelchair, and the person who was escorting me there was very impatient. Come on, hurry up and walk, mama, hurry up and walk. I'm like, oh, I feel pain. Don't you feel like I want to get there as quickly as you do? I am the one that's having the baby. But anyway, once I get there, I don't remember what time this was all happening, obviously, because I was in labor. So I want to say that we left my house at around 7 in the morning. So let's say that I got to the hospital maybe like 8 a.m. or to 8. And I sat there. There are other laboring mothers around me. None of them, I guess, has as progressed as I was, because they're all pretty chill, but I was in so much pain that I could not sit one place. And when you go to this hospital and you're laboring, it does not matter if the baby is halfway out of you. You have to sit in the waiting area and wait until a midwife can check you. So I was there sitting down, maybe an hour, family checking up on me, asking if everything is good and blah blah blah, telling them that, oh no, nobody don't look at me. So finally, I think maybe like an hour and a half later, a midwife called me to come, and she asked me what's wrong. I said I'm in labor. I'm sitting on an e-cup and my water broke. Sissy's like, alright, here's this cup. I'm gonna ask you to go into the bathroom and pee in it for me. So I was in too much pain to argue with anybody, so I took the cup, went and peed in it, and brought it back to her, and she did the urinalysis. It came back inconclusive because it was mostly amniotic fluid because my water broke. Duh. But I guess they thought that I was just saying that to get attention, ignoring the fact that I'm sitting on the wet eco pad. So when I came back, she took my temperature, she took my blood pressure, and when she took my blood pressure, she was like, oh, mother, your blood pressure high, man. In my head, I was like, duh, I am about to have a baby. Of course, it's gonna be high because my whole pregnancy was low. So they wanted to make this something to be concerned about. So she tells me to go to the examination table and spread my towels. A public hospital, they don't have any kind of resources. If you want to donate to them, please go ahead and do so. You have to take your own things because you don't have anything. So she was like, alright, take your towel and spread it on the table, and I'm gonna come and check you. So I go and put down my towel or whatever, and she comes and she checks, and she was like, oh, 6.5, 7 centimeters dilated. You're in active labor. And I'm like, feel pretty active to me. And then she goes to check to see how effaced I am. Not effaced at all. She's like, 0 effacement. Why is that? Because you're so dilated already. So goes to check the baby's position. Your baby is breech. Now, I'm not going to be telling this story in full detail, even though I probably should. Everything else will come in when I'm talking about my pregnancy. But a few weeks prior, probably when I was maybe like 29, 30 weeks, I went to an appointment, and the midwife actually told me that my baby was breech. And she told me that, oh, if your baby don't turn, you're going to have a C-section. And I had a panic attack because I did not want to get cut. So I went on spinningbabies.com. I did everything that I could to get him to turn within the 2 weeks before I had to go back to get another appointment. And when I went back, they told me that he was cephalic, meaning that he was head down and ready to be born. So I was not even taking that into consideration. So I asked the nurse if she can do a ECV, which is external cephalic version, which is when they turn the baby from the outside. She said that she didn't know how to do it, but she would call the obstetrician to see if the obstetrician can do it. So she calls the obstetrician, and she comes and does an ultrasound thing, and she said that she can't turn the baby doing the version because he is frank breech, meaning that his butt was where his head should be and his legs were crossed, so they did not think that they could turn him. So the obstetrician is like, prepare for surgery. And I was like that was literally my reaction to that. I was just like, because I didn't want a C-section, and here I was ending up to get a C-section. Like, what were the odds? Like, I explicitly did not want one, and I ended up with exactly what I did not want. So I was there, and in my hospital bag video, if you had watched it before, I mentioned all of the things that the public health system gives you in a list to pack into your hospital bag. One of those things is a shaving set, and I did hold up a little bag and showed you guys that I brought razors with me for them to shave me. Well, seeing that the C-section was not planned, it was an emergency C-section, so they were treating it like an emergency. Like, they really did not have to go as fast as they did. You know, the razor blades, that is what they used to shave my coochie. And it was probably if I was not having contractions during this, it would have been probably the most painful thing that I ever felt when she was shaving me. And I know for a fact that it never do good. Like, I couldn't look down there for days, but I know for a fact that it did pitchy patchy the way how she do it and how quickly she did it. So shave me, and then they're like, oh, the surgeon and the anesthesiologist is gonna come and brief you soon. So the surgeon comes, and she comes with the consent forms, you know, Naga bash her because she do her job. So she's like, here's this form, and oh, these are all of the bad things that are gonna happen to you or that can happen to you during a cesarean section, and blah 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 blah. And she read out everything and whatever. Then at the end of her speech, she's gonna ask me, do you consent to having this surgery performed on you? Like, ma'am, my baby is breech, and the obstetrician says that she cannot do aversion, so do I have a choice? They laugh. They say, oh yeah, that's the spirit of, you don't have the choice. So it don't make no sense to have a bad attitude about it. I'm like, yeah, whatever. So she leaves. No, I sign the form, and she leaves. Shortly after, the anesthesiologist comes as well with her form to say, oh, these are all of the bad things that can happen to you under anesthesia. So I'm like, stop. Before you say anything else, do I have to be put under for this procedure? And I asked that because I have a very good friend who she had her boys there maybe like 4 years ago. But last year would have been 3 years and some months. And she told me that she was awake during her C-section, but she felt like the reason why they kept her awake was because she had pre-E, and she wasn't sure if that was something that they did all the time or just because she had pre-E. And I had visited the hospital a couple weeks prior, and I was seeing that they were putting mothers to sleep to go do their C-section, and I did not want to be asleep because I did not trust them for nothing, for good reason as well, by the way. But she said no, they have the spinal tap, so if I want the spinal tap, I would be awake during the C-section. So I was like, at that moment, like, give me the form, let me sign it. You don't have to tell me nothing else. As long as I'm gonna be awake, fine. So I took off all of my clothes, put me in this plastic gown, and a gurney came and got me and took me to the theater. But I don't know what they were doing so long. Bear in mind, all this time I'm still having, they catheterized me, and they put in an IV access which was attached to, I think, oxytocin, because they were saying that it would help me or whatever. I'm not sure what it helped with. If anything, it made the contractions worse. And they took me to the theater, but they didn't take me inside. They took me to like the recovery room, and I was there for a while. And one of the pediatricians came and he was talking to me. He was basically saying, "Oh, I'm the pediatrician that's gonna be taking care of your baby once he's born, blah 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 blah." He's talking to me. I can't hear anything that he's saying because the contractions are coming fast and furious. And I'm like, where is this anesthesiologist to come give me this spinal tap? I don't want to feel this shit anymore. My whole arm on the side of the thing, and I swear to God, I almost broke it to how much pain I was in. And this man was there talking to me with a straight face. Then he's going to look at me and go like, no, don't do that. You don't want to hurt yourself and your baby. Calm down. I don't want to, this is not a bashing men video, so I'm not going to say anything in regards to his gender, but that's probably the last thing you would want to say to a laboring mother. So I'm look at him and I ask him if there are any other pediatricians available. He said yes, there would be another one that would be in the surgery as well. So I said, more have to deal with him and I have to deal with you, goodbye. So he got up and left, and the other one came and I was speaking to him. He was more empathetic to what was going on, and then soon they came and got me on another gurney and took me into the actual operating theater. So when I went in there, it was a bag of people. Like, how many people were there? I think there were probably like 8 or 9 people in there. 2 of them were obviously students, and they were standing together off to the side near to where I was coming in from. So they moved me onto the bed, and then they're like, once your contractions stop, let us know. We're gonna put the spinal in for you, and you can't move because this is going into your spinal cord. So I was like, all right. So the contraction, they have to be extra done because I'm not really able to paralyze me today. So wait until it was done, let them know. So they were like, all right, bend your back and you're gonna feel a little pinch, because they did numb the area first. Felt the pinch, whatever, wasn't painful or anything. And they're like, all right, we're gonna put the needle in now. You have to stay very, very still. You might feel your leg shoot. You might feel a lightning strike in your leg. That's completely normal. That's not normal, by the way. And I found that out recently. So don't make anybody tell you that that is normal. That is not normal. When that happens, it means that they hit a nerve, and they're not supposed to hit any nerves. But anyway, the 2 student doctors or whatever they were important to mention because they were to my right. This is my right. And when they gave me the spinal tap, my right leg shot out, like completely out of my control, and they were on that side and they jumped. So I couldn't help but chuckle because I'm like, you're training to be either anesthesiologist or surgeon, and you're watching a surgery take place and you're frightened. Are you sure that this is the career field for you, Mrs.? Are you sure that this is the career field? This is the career field for you. So anyway, a very young surgeon comes to me and she starts putting the brown thing on my belly, because they put the, I don't know what they call it, I'm not a medical person, but they put the thing over me and they only leave my belly exposed. And then she was putting the iodine, I don't know what it was, brown liquid on my belly. And there was another surgeon standing beside her. So the one that was doing my C-section was a student. Yes. And after she finished up with that, they put up the blinds so I couldn't see what they were doing. And another nurse came and sat beside me. So she's like, how you feeling? She was asking how I'm feeling. I told her I was tired as hell. I didn't get any sleep the night before I wanted to sleep. So she's like, oh, once you're in recovery you can sleep, but we're gonna need you to stay awake for the surgery. So I was like, alright, cool. So she was a really nice girl. She was there, she was talking to me the whole time. She was letting me know everything that was going on, what they were doing. She let me know when the surgery starts. She let me know which part I made them cut, what them I do now, everything. So I was there, and them I do what them I do. I didn't want to see, so that's why they put up the drips. So the nurse let me know that they delivered my baby, but I was like, "Oh, you delivering my baby? I don't hear him crying." So she said that they are doing the Apgar test on him. So I will soon hear him cry. I think maybe a minute or 2 or 3, a while passed before I heard him cry, and I was like, "Why is nobody saying anything to me? What happened to my kidney?" So once him cry, them clean him up and thing, and carry him come show me, "Oh, he's a boy, blah blah blah, whatever." Then them carry him away. Don't tell me anything again. And once they closed me up and thing, and I was laying on the bed, don't know where everybody gone. Everybody gone about them business. Baby gone about feed business as well. Nobody do tell me what gone. So I was just laying there, and the pediatrician that I told him that I wanted to deal with him and not the other one, he came and he was like, "Oh, your baby was having some difficulty breathing. That's why you didn't hear him cry for a while. So we're gonna be keeping him in the NICU for some observation." So I'm like, I don't really have no need to observe my child because he's 40 weeks full term, but 2 days fine. I was gonna be in the hospital for 3 days because I had a section. So anyways, I couldn't move because obviously I still have the spinal tap inside of me, and they wheeled me off to recovery. And I don't know if it was the AC. I've read that you do convulse after delivering, whether it be naturally or via C-section. You do shake a whole lot. So I was shaking, and I was so cold, and they put this heated blanket over me, and I think I was in there for maybe like an hour, in and out of consciousness, until somebody finally got me, and they put the thing on my hand and they let me know that my baby would have one. Unfortunately, they did not let us keep them. You had to get them cut off when you were discharged. So I don't have the bracelet, but I do have the thing that was on his cot. Now, the story does not end here. I'm actually going to film my time in a story time on my experience in the postnatal ward, as well as my experience as a NICU mom. Don't want this video to be super long. It's almost a half an hour already, but those videos will be coming up soon. So thank you guys so much for listening to my labor and delivery story. If you enjoy, leave a like and share. Don't forget to subscribe, and have a great rest of your day.